Hi there, glad you could join us for this episode of the Weekly Send. The Weekly Send is powered by Founded Technologies, a technology partner in your nonprofit's mission. Achieve your goals through solutions built for nonprofits and dedicated to your success. And by 1832 Communications, partnering with your nonprofit to help you build more relationships and raise more money. We've got a special episode today as we're going to be looking at 2023 and fundraising and email and what your organization can expect. Joining me is fundraising expert Lisa Kruger from Founded Technologies. Lisa, first of all, thank you very much for being here. I'd appreciate if you could introduce yourself to our viewers.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I was excited to come in and have a conversation with you today. I'm Lisa Kruger. As has been mentioned, I work at Founded Technologies. I'm currently the product manager, but I come out of the community foundation and nonprofit sector, having been a consultant, chief development officer, a CEO, and I'm also a CFRE. So I do live, eat, and breathe this space. So getting me to talk about this I'm loving it. So
fantastic. So we're glad to have an expert with us, and we're going to jump right in. In this episode, I'm going to ask Lisa some questions which are going to help you understand what's coming in 2023 and how to prepare your fundraising and your email and your marketing. So let's jump right in. Lisa, how do you see 2023 shaping up in terms of fundraising? Will it be similar or different to 2022? And I know the big question everybody has, how will inflation or a recession affect nonprofit organizations?
yeah, it's a great question to start out with. When I look back at what we've kind of seen in 2022 and actually prior years, I think we're going to see more of the same. We didn't see much of an uptake overall. I think it was Giving USA put it as like 0.7%. So it was relatively flat. I actually do see that as continuing going forward. With the kind of that talk about the recession, inflation sort of thing. Yes, I think our individual donors will pull back, but they're also going to be looking to make sure they're continuing to contribute to those organizations that have done the work to create that connection.
Excellent. So the big word I'm hearing there, retention and connection, building relationships.
Yep.
Excellent. So let's take that and now look at what advice you would give organizations so that in 2023, they can maximize their fundraising and marketing success.
Yeah. Here's what I hope, that organizations are going to continue to kind of double down on the work they did in 2022 of creating those meaningful relationships with current donors. Spending that time to figure out that connection what they had with them, developing out those recurring donation relationships, but really spending time for those individuals that are already connected you in some way and working with them to bring them even closer. Because again, it's often a time people rethink about their giving. And if you've created those relationships, they're going to continue to give. What we have to remember is our organization's programs are still relevant, even in inflation, even in a recession. We saw that with COVID. And for those that were successful, they focused on those donors and bringing them close to them and closer to their mission. We're going to need to do that as we go forward next year.
I love that answer. It's all about building connections with your donors and bringing them closer. So now we're going to talk about raising a little bit more and creating those connections. How can nonprofits utilize email specifically to achieve their 2023 fundraising goals?
Yeah. So what I love about email is the cheapest method of fundraising out there, and people respond to it. A trend started during our past COVID years that has continued. People are reading information and they're reading your emails. We also know that standard time frame when we send emails has also grown. It's definitely gone beyond. People are reading emails on Saturdays. What we need to make sure we're doing is making sure that our outreach is thoughtful, it is impactful, great to just continue to be that awareness component, but we need to be a little bit more thoughtful, a little more targeted of what we're asking, a little bit more informative of what we are asking our donors to do for us, but also explaining to them how their dollars worked, which is something we do anything, but right now we have to be much more aware of those things and how many we're touching them. But it's also okay to ask. What I saw in the past is when people go into a recession or an inflation or even COVID, oh, I shouldn't ask. It's like, you have to continue to ask. Don't be afraid to ask, because if you've done your work as an organization and created that relationship, they know how valuable your work is and how it works to the community. So that's where I would say how to continue to utilize email to achieve those fundraising goals. Make sure it's a key part of that structure you're putting together for your fundraising outreach.
That's an excellent answer. And if everybody who's watching takes away one thing from this, it's what Lisa just said. Don't stop asking. 3 words. Don't stop asking. Even if you have a boss who says, no, we can't ask now, it's a recession, it's inflation, whatever it is, don't stop asking. Don't make judgment calls for your donors as to how they want to give and to who they're going to give to. So speaking of donors and creating connections and relationships, could you tell us how a well-maintained, robust donor database, a CRM, can be helpful in helping achieve 1, maximum click-through rates in email, and 2, conversions from an email?
Yeah. This is a topic I could talk a lot on, because we have to remember our CRM is what I call our true north. It's everything that we want to know about our donors lives there. And if that is not well maintained, updated database information, contact information, emails, and you're not have the ability to capture the type of information you want to know about your donors, i.e., do they give at a certain level? Are they someone who gives recurring gifts? Are they someone who's interested specifically in maybe environmental causes? So if you don't know enough about your donors, then you cannot create that relationship to start those conversations, to utilize via email. Creating the ability to target, and I hate using that word with donors because we don't like using that word, but creating a campaign specifically around an area that a donor likes to give or understands your impact. It's like, how can we then segment those to reach them in a communication that speaks directly to them personally and create that? We can't do that unless we have a well-maintained, robust donor database that allows us to capture that. So it is really important to, when you have time, take the time to give the time it needs there, because if you don't, you're not going to get the results you want to see out of your campaigns because you've not maintained this.
That's fantastic. I just want a quick follow-up, because I think you've mentioned it in the first, as answers in the first, to each of the questions. You talk often, and you mention a bunch of times, connect. What's the connection between the connecting with donors and the fundraising? How does that help maximize fundraising in 2023 and beyond?
Yeah. I like to say, flip yourself. Don't be the organization, now be the donor, right? If I'm a donor, what do you want? What do I want to know about you? If I haven't created a connection and a way to inform me where I'm active listening, maybe you're engaging where I want to get my information and learn from. If you've not created that connection or that engagement, then I don't know how to give to you. I don't know how to interact with you. And so it's our jobs as an organization to make sure that we've created that path to do that.
That is a fantastic answer. I love how you flipped that. Amazing. So one last question for you, Lisa. Given all your years of experience, knowledge, insights, expertise, if the genie offered you one fundraising superpower, what would you ask for?
Wow. Well, you probably heard me talk to it. It's the ability to connect and convene. That is, I really think, the superpower. First of all, I think fundraisers are superpower people anyway, because They do a lot of hard work in that connection, but yeah, it is really connecting and being able to, take someone over here and connect them with a cause over here, or understand internally how to reach out and connect across those aisles. But yeah, that would be the superpower. Everyone that I've seen that's been an amazing, successful fundraiser just knows how to do that convening and connecting.
Perfect. Perfect. And that's a great place to end this special episode of the Weekly Send. Lisa, thank you very, very much for joining us. I appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for being here for this episode of the Weekly Send, where we help your nonprofit boost your email fundraising and marketing. We'll see you next episode.